All right, thank you so much for staying tuned. Now, as more Nigerians look beyond the local market, investment migration is emerging as a strategy for building and protecting wealth. Investors are increasingly exploring opportunities that combine global investment with residency or citizenship options in stable economies. The move is largely driven by the need to shield assets from naira volatility, inflation, and economic uncertainty. Now, financial experts say spreading investment across different countries and currencies can help reduce risk while creating long-term value. But the one that investment migration is more than buying properties overseas, securing a second passport. It also requires strict compliance with international anti-money laundering rules, tax obligations, and Nigerian foreign exchange regulations. Experts advise investors to strike a balance by maintaining strong local investments or expanding into carefully selected international assets. They said understanding the fundamentals is key to making informed decisions as more Nigerians diversify their portfolios globally. My next guest is a client, advisor, and an immigration officer. He is André Gonçalves. Yes, I got that this time. André Gonçalves. It's good to have you here, André. Thank you so much for coming in.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, interesting stuff. I've been reading through stuff around how I could invest internationally. But first, let's start in today's economic climate. Many Nigerian investors are looking to diversify their assets internationally, just like I said in my introduction. How does this investment migration fit into a broader wealth preservation and asset diversification strategy?
So, as you said, Tolu, and once again, thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
The key aspect about this industry is that it needs to be part of a broader strategy. It needs to be aligned with the client's objectives, first of all, with their tax strategy, with their asset planning strategy, and so on and so forth. It cannot be seen as an isolated aspect. It's very rare that these days someone comes to my office and says, "Oh, I want a passport." We always want to know more about the client to make sure that what they are getting, not because they heard from a friend or from a colleague, because they also got it and they want the same thing. We want to look at each case and advise people properly to see what is their strategy and how does it fit. The last thing I want is to have a client that his size is a 7 and selling him a shoe that is a 9, if you allow me the example. So this has to be aligned with everything. In that sense, what we are aiming to do here is to open more doors to our clients, especially here in Nigeria, for them not to be so reliant in one jurisdiction and to all the risks that it takes. Okay. In here, as you know, it's currency volatility. Thankfully, not so much over the past 8 to 9 months, I would say. Politic action taken by other countries. For instance, Nigerian citizens had quite a few restrictions when it comes to obtaining US visas recently. So we want to cover our clients from all that and open more options. It's not about buying a passport or a residency. It's about getting our clients a biggest toolbox so that they can face their challenges, being it professional challenges, health challenges, family planning challenges, and so on and so forth. What I would want our viewership to retain more than anything is that global mobility is not just another asset that the client is looking at. It does not preclude financial planning. It goes hand in hand with it.
Global mobility.
Yes.
That sounds good to me. When Nigerian businesses are increasingly expanding to African and global markets, you would agree with me, a lot is happening. Now, how can residence or citizenship by investment support entrepreneurs and business owners looking to scale across borders?
So basically, this enables entrepreneurs to go where the business is. With a Nigerian passport, you know that there are quite a few restrictions when it comes to travel. Obtaining appointments for visas is difficult, and this is where the first level comes in. So it allows one to be able to pack their bags tomorrow and travel to wherever they see fit, being it Europe, UK, and many more. So it allows the client to be where the business is. This can be to attend business meetings, to oversee facilities that are overseas, and a multitude of things. Negotiate contracts in person. You know that being in person is the different factor. At the same time, most of our programs do not demand the business owner to relocate and go start from scratch somewhere else. Okay. So most of our clients, they have their business here, they are successful here, and they don't want to leave everything behind and go to a place where they need to live 5 or 6 years. So this is where the investment programs come in because they have, even though they are financially quite substantial, when it comes to personal terms, they do not require our clients to uproot everything and move everything overseas. This allows business continuity as well, not dealing with visa rejections and political risk and so on and so forth. Give you a small example, we have several clients that have businesses in the UAE, for example, and the political situation between the two countries is not always favorable, so sometimes it might be hard for you to get a visitor visa. So when you eliminate this political risk from your life becomes much easier. It's important is the easier it is for a business person, for an entrepreneur to move, the easier it is for them to grow their business.
Interesting stuff. I'm always interested in clients growing their business. And I know really there was a time that it was so difficult to get to UAE. You know, even getting visa from here to UAE at the time was very, very strict because I went for a conference then and I know what it took us before we could get the approval from. And I didn't think we had to use an agency of government for us to be able to get that visa there. But I think it's better now than before. I think it's getting better than before. But family offices and high net worth individuals are placing greater emphasis, now that's my next question, on succession and legacy planning. What role does global mobility play in protecting wealth across generations?
So, first of all, most programs allow you to include your children, and some other programs allow you to pass this down to future generations.
Okay.
So this is not just something that you are doing it for yourself. You're thinking ahead and seeing what options can you give your family. In terms of, it opens other jurisdictions that might be precluded to you so that you can do your wills, you can do your trusts, corporate structuring, etc., to make it in a way that no one is naive enough to think that they don't have to pay taxes or levies anywhere, but enables you to become more efficient and to structure things in different ways. Enables your children to have more freedom and to have, and what people want as fathers and mothers is for their children to have opportunities that they didn't have yet. So when your children, it makes it easier for them to go to school abroad, to attend job opportunities abroad, and in general, I mean, holidays in Europe, to have access to other things and to see other things, to see the world a bit more. The legacy here is not only about the wealth, it's about giving the future generation more choices so that they have broader horizons, not just toiling here. They know that there's a world out there, I would say.
Something better. Well, from your experience advising international clients now, what trends are you seeing in investment migration industry and how are Nigerian investors adapting to this global shifts?
So in a word, everything is becoming more complex. So countries that are hosting these investors, they are becoming more demanding when it comes to transparency, to what source of funds do you have, where is your money coming from, is your source of funds legitimate,
money laundering and all of that.
Yes, exactly. So this industry has a bit of, the layman has a bit of image of that, people who are doing this is because they have something to hide. That's not the case these days. Everything needs to be very transparent. We know some countries that send due diligence officers to visit businesses in Nigeria to see what's going on. So the applicants need to have their paperwork in order, to have their tax returns in order, bank accounts, etc., etc. So things are becoming more complex. This is what we're here to do, to guide our clients through, see what they need, what they don't need. Our objective is not, there's not a case that we cannot tackle, but we want to guide clients and shepherd them properly through a process that is becoming more and more demanding. Another trend that we are seeing is most citizenship programs are shifting away from purely passive forms of investment. They want their investors to be more involved in the country's lives, to see more of an involvement, not just buying a property, renting it out, and visiting the country once a year or less than that. They want these programs to have higher impact in the economy. As I'm sure you know, there's a habitation crisis in Europe. Most countries are phasing out purely property investment schemes because they want the country to benefit on a deeper level. So, for instance, in Portugal, they are shifting away from property investments to investments in private equity funds or charitable donations towards cultural institutions, and so on and so forth.
Wow.
Caribbean countries is something that is not in yet, but they would want their clients not just to donate, but to visit the countries more often, and to have a higher impact in the countries. Most of these countries, their GDP is hugely contingent on this inflow of capital, so they would want to do more with it and people to be more involved with it. In terms of what our clients are doing and how we are advising them, given how the world is these days, you were just speaking to your previous guest about crude, and what Mr. Trump does affects what everyone does. What we are seeing is clients are trying to diversify more, as opposed to putting all their eggs in one basket and just going for one program. We're looking at clients that are combining programs. For instance, we're looking at clients that are combining a second passport in the Caribbean, for instance, for short-term mobility purposes, with residency in Europe as a more long-term solution. Nigerian investors are becoming more and more sophisticated in this regard.
True.
Usually the question was, how fast is it, and how many visa-free can I get? These days we are seeing clients that, how does this fall into a larger strategy? And we are trying to advise clients in that sense as well, to be part of a bigger strategy, to align with their auditors, tax advisors, legal advisors, family offices, to make sure that everything moves smoothly and everything goes accordingly. So more than visa-free itself, which was the biggest question, is how does this align in my long-term strategy?
Great stuff. Now, finally, for Nigerian business leaders and innovators and investors are considering global mobility, I want you to tell us, what are the key financial, legal, and strategic considerations they should evaluate?
So we advise more than everything. So the most important thing is that sometimes people are very secretive when they are discussing their future plans, is to tell us as much as possible of what is their objective, so that we can choose with them the best plan. So the most important thing is the client and what they are looking to achieve. From the client itself, the first thing is the financials. They have to look at it in an integrated way. Make sure that they are not just looking at the investment, but at the total cost. In that, we always try to advise the client not only what is the investment, but what are additional costs like government due diligence fees, etc., etc. And how long does it set them back, not only the headline figure. In legal terms, we have to check what is the eligibility. Some family structures, for instance, where the children are a bit older, are eligible for one program but not the other. Some programs are more demanding when it comes to financial. Some programs that require bank statements, where others want audited statements from financial statements from companies, and so on and so forth. So we have to see how the client is structured, where they fit. In terms of tax residence, this is something that, especially this year with the tax reform in Nigeria, that we get more questions and people are more concerned. How does this fit with my current obligations, and what does this entail? Most countries that we offer and programs, because they do not require physical presence, they do not have immediate fiscal impact. However, we have to check all of this with where the client spends time. For instance, I spend half my time here, half my time in the UK. Where are you paying your taxes? Where are you a tax resident, and so on and so forth. So we try to take all of this into consideration when devising a plan. In strategic terms, we have to look further than what the client is getting now, and to try to see where the countries are going, and what are the trends. So more than anything, we don't want to solve just the immediate issue that the client might have when it comes to mobility, but to future-proof them and their future generations. So a program that might work for you now might not be the same thing that will work for you in 10 years. So we try to take all of this into consideration. Lastly, always work with an accredited advisor, with a licensed agent, and someone that is not promising you returns that are too good to be true, absurd success rates, and so on and so forth, and someone that paints you a full picture. If something is too good to be true, it's because it probably isn't. And people that fall for that are always very greedy. Greece has... Okay, go ahead. Just to finalize on that, the best decision is not the cheapest or the fastest. It's the one that better covers your long-term goals when it comes to that.
Well, Greece has become one of Europe's most attractive residency by investment destinations, particularly its golden visa program. What makes Greece appealing to Nigerian investors?
So the simplicity of the program, in essence, is what makes it appealing. So in very simple terms, by doing a qualifying investment of 250,000 euros or more in a property in Greece, you get permanent residency for you and for your children without having to stay there. So in one hand, you can get a very nice investment, for the lack of a better word, that offers you a good return on investment, good capital appreciation, and on top of that, you can get a residency. The residency comes with traveling privileges and so on and so forth. We believe in this jurisdiction to the point that we have developed our own projects in there. We have even promoted them in Nigeria. And because of the simplicity, the fact that it doesn't take a huge period of time for you to get the residency, it becomes very interesting. So yes, that's why we have our clients looking into that.
Cyprus also has long been recognized as a strategic gateway between Europe and the Middle East. Yeah. What opportunities does Cyprus present now for investors, families looking for international business education?
So this is a good one, because Cyprus and Greece usually get mixed up together and sold together because they have a bit of proximity, they have a bit of language as well, but Cyprus is a very different proposition than Greece. We believe in this jurisdiction to the point of where we are developing our own projects in there. It has a golden visa program as well, but it can be part of a much larger strategy because taxation is much more favorable when you want to set up a business in there. If you want to have a foothold in Europe where you do business, and this is something that we see, we have clients here that either import or export to Europe, and they want a jurisdiction that is in the EU for compliance purposes, at the same time that is tax efficient, and this can be very interesting. It is, as you said, in between the Europe and the Middle East, so strategic in terms of location is quite interesting. Yeah. And it has a golden visa program as well that enables you to obtain permanent residency there by doing a property investment. So it can marry this aspect of having a long-term prospect somewhere that you have rented out, or is a family home for you to go in the summer months. We all know how the weather is here, so you can go to somewhere sunny for 2-3 weeks with your family and have your business set up there. So it combines not only the lifestyle, but a very attractive tax and corporate environment with a very strategic location.
Well, interesting stuff. I've been speaking to André Gonçalves. He's a Portuguese lawyer with more clients and complex cross-border transactions with particular focus on residency and citizenship by investment solutions. He joined Passport Legacy in 2021, right? And relocated to Nigeria full-time in 2024. Welcome to Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Of course, to support the firm's expanding presence across West Africa. Thank you so much for being on Business Nigeria today. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you for having me.
All right then. Well.